Hello there, everybody. I'm Mr. Game & Pie, and this is Let's Play Sonic Adventure Part 10. My co-commentator has been found thanks to my confidence Emerald detector.
You gonna edit that into the screen, Thomas? You gonna edit that into... Okay.
Nope. Anyway, what is your name?
What is your quest? To be Austin on Sugar? What is your favorite color? Fuchsia? Dead. And anyway. Ooh, we're coming up to the scene. Okay.
The sea.
So if we're to believe that every one of these characters' stories is how they recall the situation, if we were to compare Sonic's absolute cockiness in this scene, you know, let's just see you take him, and compare that to the way that we see how Knuckles handles it here, this is just about as good as Knuckles' character has ever been represented in a scene.
Hey, Knuckles!
Not a word. And then Sonic is all...
Whoa! What do you think you're doing?
All right. Put him up. Hand over the emerald now.
He's just trying to be
That's not gonna
super
happen,
intimidating
buddy.
there.
I love it so much! I wouldn't be surprised if he did stumble out, you know, give me all the museum right now! But, I love that, alright. Put him up.
Oh no!
Hand over the emerald now.
Oh no!
Sonic just can't do anything.
I want, like, Western music to play through that or something.
Oh no, the Chaos Emerald!
This emerald here ain't big enough for the both of us.
But Knuckles, it's like twice our size. I'm pretty sure it's big enough.
What's he doing?
It's all mine, hedgehog. You can't have none of it. These here parts, dog. Boyo.
That's a Chaos Emerald.
But yeah, it's time to fight the hardest version of Chaos 4.
Which isn't saying much, but do go on.
Well, it's
You
like
can't get
it
away
has
with this.
as much health as it did whenever Sonic was fighting it.
Knuckles,
It has
did you let
the
him
more
trick
difficult
you
tactics
again?
of when Tails was fighting it.
Smooth move,
And you can't fly.
knucklehead.
Well, you can glide, which is close enough.
I mean, you can't stay airborne forever, basically.
It's more than Sonic has anyway.
Here, Chaos.
Fair enough. Which is also why Sonic got a easier attack pattern, I believe. Although overall, Sonic's story really is the hardest in the game, if you're going by sheer difficulty. But yeah, minus a particular certain cat that we'll be getting to later. The interesting thing about this game is that each character gets their own difficulty progression. It never really feels like...
I'll
Ooh,
make
there
him
we go.
eat dirt.
Sorry. Where was I? Oh, right. It never really feels like any particular character, especially as a kid, I, would get bored and, ooh, I unlocked a new character! I'm gonna go play as him now! So then I did. Oh, Amy is a playable, oh, okay, now I'll go play as Amy, and then I get a robot, and then the robot I get a cat somehow, and then, and I would just go through it like that, which is, one way to go about it, at least. And if you sort of were to progress each character at the same rate as one another, you'll actually find a lot of the time that the progression in each character's story is pretty solid on the difficulty curve, like throughout. I frankly really enjoy that aspect of the game. It adds to the sense of freedom that this game has that none other Sonic game ever has. Just another reason to love Sonic Adventure, and I swear to God I'm not using nostalgia goggles here when I say that.
Yeah.
Help me,
Well,
Thomas, I have nothing else to talk about during this boss fight.
Well, I have a thing to talk about.
Talk.
Alright, so you see, Tails had to do 4 hits on Chaos, but Sonic and Knuckles had to do like 7.
7?
Yeah, something like that. 6 or 7, something like that.
Totally not 5.
No. But yeah, like, Tails is significantly stronger than both of these characters. And Knuckles is the strong one. What?
If we're to believe, anyway, that, I'd like to believe that Tails kind of just remembers that, Sonic is beating up Chaos and, like, doing such a great job, and then Tails flies in at the last minute and is like, I got the final hit! I must be really powerful! And then when Sonic says later, yeah, he took 5 hits, Tails is like, nah, I beat him in 1. And so our happy marriage is formed.
Wow. But, yeah. Knuckles is weaker than Tails. Canon.
It's official. It's got tails.
Also, maybe the reason why Chaos is more difficult for Tails and Knuckles, like he uses more advanced tactics, is because Tails sees Chaos as being harder than he actually is, because he doesn't always have confidence in himself and such.
Uh-huh.
While Knuckles sees Chaos's greater difficulty as more bragging rights.
Yes! Yes! Actually, that makes perfect sense. And actually, that extends to a lot of things about the story. You know, we never really see Chaos 2 move like he does when he faces Knuckles during Sonic and Tails' stories. He just kind of leers there. But when Knuckles faces off against him, he's all like wiggly and he's doing a dance. And his boss fight is the most complicated in the game. Like complicated.
Well, if you
as
don't
in,
do what I did.
If you don't do what you did, he has the most moves. He has the most like fast-paced moves. I think Chaos 2 is the biggest threat in the game. You know, from a tactical standpoint. Chaos 4 is stuck in the water if he's gonna do any kind of attack. Chaos 6 can't move for beans.
What are we waiting for?
Chaos 2 is like, could break dance you to death if he so felt inclined to play Resident Evil 6 for some reason. So, I frankly really quite enjoy the whole setup there. It's very interesting. I really like what they do with it. It's just cool in general.
But you know, another way to look at it is that Chaos came out of the Master Emerald, which is this thing that Knuckles has spent his whole life guarding.
Yeah.
So maybe, for Knuckles, the reason why Chaos uses more difficult tactics against him, at least the reason why Knuckles sees it is that way, is because he's literally been guarding this whole thing his entire life, and all of a sudden this monster comes out of it. Maybe he's just really scared of Chaos, actually.
Mass me.
And
I
it's
thought
like
we were
a
friends.
Silent Hill thing going on here, where Chaos's more difficult presence for when Knuckles is around is representative of his actual inner fear of the guy.
That would actually be really cool. And again, that sticks with Knuckles' macho perspective of everything. So yeah. Help, our headcanons are good.
Yes.
Like, really good.
Real good.
Like, Tails and Knuckles are apparently rivals in like a weird, silent, never talk to one another way.
Yeah. Well, not exactly rivals, they just don't like each other.
Now
Whatever.
you can do the maximum heat Knuckles attack.
Anyway, we just got the light attack, except it's Knuckles.
The interesting thing about this attack is because you can actually charge it while walking, if you so much as change Knuckles from his walking and or standing animation, the bubble will pop. So it's not nearly as viable as the light attack, because the light attack we could charge up and then use wherever we wanted.
Yeah.
Sonic just runs a bit slower. Knuckles has to walk menacingly up to his enemy. Where do
And
you
we
keep-
got a statue thingy.
How do you keep getting items from all of these?
Well, you see luck.
I never get items from these.
Austin, you're not me.
I'm not you.
You will
What-
never be.
What am I doing here?
Also, I forgot the golden statue.
Nice.
Looks like it's time to climb to the top of this thing.
Do you want me to tell you where it is, Thomas?
No, I know where it is.
Yeah.
It's all the way over there.
Mm-hmm. This really is an expansive maze. It's just, you never have to go to a good half of it.
Yep.
One thing I can really appreciate from the DX version of this game is that they actually gave you a map function in the pause menu. So,
They did. Want to see it?
Yeah, go right ahead.
That's the map of the area, guys.
I mean, like, it's not much, but at least playing as Big, trying to find his last power-up is not nearly as much of a headache. Or not last, but it's the last one I always find, because it's such a headache to find. Also, if you know where to stand, standing on top of the treetops is actually a really viable way of going about half the sections of the stage.
Yep.
Now this is a really cool animation. It's also worth noting, and I find this probably the coolest part about this stage, is that Sonic enters the front of this temple and ends up in like the the very beginning, as Sonic sees it. Knuckles falls through the back and ends up right at the end of the stage.
Yeah, Knuckles takes a shortcut. Knuckles cheats.
Now, I had a rap I was planning on using for this particular version of the stage, because this song sounds like it would do really well with the Sonic Adventure 2 rap theme. Yeah, Knuckles, we're here in Lost World. Leading lights, leading lights. It's something like that.
Uh-huh.
Admitted it would be cool if we had rap at the anyway.
No, Austin, I think we've gone over this. Rap is wrong.
The original sin. Adam and Eve started rapping one day. God was not pleased and banished them from the Promised Land forever.
I'm glad that we have come to an understanding.
Now, with that said, this is the start of Knuckles getting partnered with really, really jazzy tracks. I mean, you might as well call it coincidence that Casinopolis and Red Mountain are both like these really, really like chill, awesome, jazzy tracks. Here, we get the song that plays for 3 seconds in Sonic's version of the stage, playing throughout the entire Lost World level for Knuckles, which is, I believe, one of only 2 cases where the music actually changes, but, for one given area, I think, in the entire game. Yeah, running through it right now, I'm pretty sure this is one of only 2 times in the entire game where a different theme plays than what's supposed to. Or what did during Sonic's, I should say. It's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's our much ado about music section while we wait for the final emerald to be found.
Yeah,
But,
well, I'm going up, but then there were spiky things.
I really do like the layout of this level, though. It's not nearly as much of a maze for Knuckles or a puzzle for Knuckles. It's just a lot of really cool, fun stuff to interact with. And that stands out to me. A lot of Knuckles levels stand out to me, actually. I think he's probably got the most, I don't want to say diverse necessarily, but memorable level design. Would that be a good way to put it?
Yeah, probably.
Like, obviously Sonic's got the biggest stages with the most thought-out gimmicks, but Knuckles' stages just constructually all really stand out, so that I could be playing through any one of them except Skarduck and saying it's my favorite stage in the game.
I couldn't, because, Tails. But
I mean more like my favorite. Oh, this is my favorite Knuckles stage. He says during Casinopolis before heading straight to Red Mountain, being like, "It's so open. This is my favorite Knuckles stage." Before we go into this stage, just like the level design is so intuitive. This is my favorite Knuckles stage. Anyway,
This is very
if they had
strange.
kept a couple of the mechanics that come from this game in Sonic Adventure 2, I think that people would have really liked the Sonic Adventure 2 Knuckles stages a lot more.
oh, I agree. The only problem I really have with these stages is the sloppy "this way," says Tikal. She just flies through walls.
Well, I still think that that's better than
Puzzles.
like the hints.
Those are literally puzzles, though. They turn Knuckles' free-roaming stages into puzzle stages, which is technically not what I enjoy not playing as Knuckles in this game for. I enjoy Knuckles because of the freedom and the brutality of all of his movements and stuff. He's literally clawing through the walls, and you get that really nice, sound effect whenever he does. In the next game, it's just a little like, it sounds kind of like what you'd get if a 2-year-old was shoveling in his sandbox or something. Not nearly as like, oh, just hear that crunch in his shirt. I quite enjoy that sound effect personally. Anyway.
But yeah, it's why that's kind of why I like the "this way" from Tikal more than it's between some poles.
Yes. It's interesting that you mention that though, because the clever thing is that they then offer a secondary mission, which is find all the Chaos Emeralds without using Tikal at all. And you can do that fairly easily if you know the layout of the stages and know where to go and whatnot. So it's really kind of nice to know that that's even a thing. Similarly, though, in Sonic Adventure 2, the less you use the hint monitors, the more points you get, the closer you get to a ranking system. So I think that that's actually a neat way to balance out the mission mode in this game, personally.
Yeah.
However,
I
the hints are still stupid, yes.
just don't like the ranks in general. But we'll
agree.
get to that. Well, I guess we've technically already gotten to that, I think. But we'll get more into that one day.
Maybe if we ever do a versus of Sonic Adventure 2, you never know.
Yeah, well, not like we already haven't done that.
Oh yeah, it's totally not on my channel, austinonsugar.com, it's literally blah, blah, blah.
Totally not something that I have a playlist of.
Yeah. Psst, guys, check out Thomas's playlists. I'm pretty sure Mega Man 4 is somewhere in there.
But,
Hey,
yeah, another aspect of Knuckles' gameplay that I like more than Sonic Adventure 2 is that you can detect more than one emerald at a time.
That was what really killed the experience for me in SA2 was that, I mean, logistically,
I don't know where
he has a sixth sense for where the Master Emeralds are, and apparently where keys are. How does he not sense the one right next to him?
Like,
Just
you could
because
have
it's a red order.
passed, you could have passed one of the emeralds
Hey,
3 times in a stage or something,
Mhm.
and then you have to go back there again.
And I think that would have actually worked even better with the hint monitor system, because the hint monitors would go in order, but you wouldn't have to. That would have actually been a really solid way to go about it. But no. It's also, the other thing about it is in these stages, it really is a treasure hunting mission. You're running through, oh look, it turned blue, and then it turns green, and then it turns yellow, then it turns pink, then it turns red. Or is it red then pink? I forget.
Yeah, it's pink then red.
Gotcha. You know, we get literally the best game of hot or colder that we could possibly get with treasure hunting. That's also why Tikal directly points you to the emeralds, because getting a good time bonus, getting a good score, if you go for those kinds of things, or just playing good, is more a matter of getting a rope for the getting the ropes for the levels and exploring them, as Knuckles gives you the tools to do. In the second game, it's about how well you can memorize what the hints mean.
Yeah.
You know, between the floating beacons. Oh! Okay! Let me go all over Meteor Herd and hope I find 2 floating beacons somewhere. Maybe!
Now this part of the story, this doesn't happen in Gamma's story.
Well, it kinda does, but we'll get there when we get there.
Not really.
Time to
It's
make
like-
a house call.
Everything in Gamma's story takes place after this moment, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll save it for Gammas, but go on.
Most of it, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the coming out of the sky part that we saw first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Knuckles seeing Gamma go into the base there kind of makes sense within the context of Gamma's story, but seeing fall out of the sky?
In
That-
Red Mountain.
That makes no sense. He never...
Okay.
Well, he goes to Red Mountain way later.
Falling
Like,
out of the...
Knuckles' story is over by the time he gets there.
Yes. As far as the falling out of sky, that's just him spawning. It's much like how Zero always falls from the sky during Amy's story. But,
What's going on?
there is a more or less vague explanation that I find really interesting to look into as to why Gamma is there in Knuckles' story to begin with. And I'll get into that when we get to Gamma's story, because I'll have nothing else to talk about at that point.
Oh boy! Anyway.
So you guys should keep watching, because yeah!
I just grabbed onto nothing.
Nice.
I sense the Master Emerald.
sense the
It can't be
Master
far from here.
Do you think we have time for this in this part?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, like another 2 minutes. We can do it.
Alright, so in Sonic's story, when Sonic gets here, he's, like, subjected to this massive amount of tilting of the ship and stuff. In Knuckles' story, you get to tilt the ship, which means that it's Knuckles' fault that Sonic's life becomes a living hell.
Basically.
And it's hilarious.
Blame Knuckles for physics, guys.
It's one of the funniest parts about the game, is that Knuckles is just blindly searching for the Master Emeralds and giving Sonic a much harder time than he needs to. Really
I'm
quite
not
cool,
gonna tilt
honestly.
I'm not gonna tilt the ship yet.
You're just gonna explore until you find something, know what you need to tilt it towards. Perfectly respectable. Probably
Or
the
I
best...
can just grab a Master Emerald piece.
Yeah, works too. I really do like the way the stage is set up. The tilting mechanic gimmick, I like the fact that Knuckles has a stage-specific gimmick, as if, you know, they didn't just forget about all the other characters getting something special for a particular time. Not the biggest fan of the tilting ship mechanic in general, but I like the idea that it's Knuckles' own thing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna have to tilt it to the side, and then I'm gonna have to tilt it down.
I think it runs off of airplane controls, so you're going to tilt the thing towards where you want it to fall.
Yes.
I believe that's how it
So,
works.
let's see here. Let's start. Yeah. Let's get this one over here first.
Or rather, not towards where you want it to fall. I'm sorry. The stick's angle matches the angle of the ship. There we go.
Alright, we got that one now. Because I don't think that there's a way to restore it back to normal tilt.
Yes, there is. If you grab it without pushing in a direction, like just tap the B button and Knuckles grabs on, it actually resets back to default.
Oh, well, okay.
Like that.
And I tilted it the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
You're gonna want to tilt it back, right?
Yeah.
Usually works better if you push. There we go.
Let's see if we can make this happen. Yeah, we got this now.
Meanwhile, Sonic is trying desperately to find that switch so he can get out. Break open the capsule.
Trying to get in, but it's not letting me in!
Bigger jumps, bigger jumps. Yeah, there we go.
No. Did I kill it? Oh, it's not in this one.
It's in the one next to it, yeah.
No, not that one.
This one.
There we go.
Luckily, I don't think the falling things kill you. They just kind of push you. Also, Knuckles is currently inside of one of those little cart things.
Well, with that said, I think we're about to end the episode, actually.
Yes. Ooh, you just got hit from a mob inside of it.
All right. Now, to restore the
Time
Master
to
Emerald.
restore the master.
No, wait, but first, drug trip. Also, I love Knuckles' reaction here.
Oh no, not again.
Well, gang,
What is the meaning
I've been
of
Mr.
this?
Game and Pie.
I've been Austin on Sugar.
This has been Let's Play Sonic Adventure Part 10, and we'll see you next time.
Indeed.
Bye.
Just...